Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Into the Vault, the show where we reach back into the Disney vault, pull out a movie, and find out if it was a hidden treasure or if it was locked away for our own good. I'm your host, Garrison MacCraw, and what's this bouncing in the background? He's getting closer and closer. Whoa, it's my guest, Stephen Herron.
Whoa, hey, man, I just bounced all over this room like I'm covered in flubber or something.
I know. I mean, that's a great coincidence because we're actually going to be watching a movie today very similar to Flubber, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
I can't wait. One of my favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Wait.
I
already did that one.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've listened to that.
Oh.
And I wasn't here.
Well, then I guess we can watch Flubber.
That'd be cool.
All
I'd
right.
be cool with that.
So, luckily, in terms of posters I accidentally grabbed Flubber instead of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. So I think subconsciously I knew that I was doing this wrong to begin with. But before we get into that, I just want to know your background on Flubber, this hit 1997 Robin Williams classic?
Yes, I think it's been a while.
Yeah.
I remember having the Flubber Beanie Baby.
Yeah.
Which it looked like Flubber, but it was made of fabric, so it didn't bounce. You would toss it as hard as you could against the wall, and it was just a sad experience.
Goo toys exist,
right?
Especially in the late 90s, early 2000s.
My parents had Stretch Armstrong, for crying out loud, and
right.
that was just a sack of goo.
They couldn't come up with an actual Flubber-based toy for Flubber.
And now we've got all kind of slimes and all kind of stuff for kids today. Whatever. Yeah, I had a sack of beans, and I was really happy about it, you know. And I think subconsciously this movie set me up for a love of bow ties.
Yeah.
And then Doctor Who really
cemented your love of Beanie Babies.
Beanie Babies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he yells Beanie Baby every time he does
anything.
Yeah, that's it was great marketing
for Beanie Babies.
The BBC really took care
Strangely
of that.
enough, the Doctor Who toys all slime.
Yeah, it's weird. They were like, Beanie Babies were a good idea. We're gonna go slime.
The two marketing teams should have had a conversation, and they just never did. There was
so close.
There was a switching of paperwork at the toy factories between Doctor Who and Flubber. And this was 1997, so the Doctor Who would have been like the 8th Doctor. It was
right, yeah. Did we have adipose then? I think that was the fat monsters from Doctor Who. This isn't a Doctor Who podcast. I shouldn't be talking about this. What are we doing?
We're watching Doctor Who.
Are we? We can.
Yeah. Depending on the season, it might be better. It's a quick sidetrack. Is any season of Doctor Who good? Because I watched a lot of it, and I really liked it. But is it good?
Yes.
Yes. All right, we'll go with yes.
I think that's the safest answer. Stephen Moffat might be listening, and
yeah.
I don't want to upset him.
We don't want to create a very confusing timeline that you have to watch back 7 times to make any sense of it.
And, I love David Tennant, and he's Scrooge McDuck now in the DuckTales series, so yes.
So yes.
I think just yes.
Led to great things.
Yeah.
So Flubber. Yeah, I personally remember watching this when I was much younger, but I don't remember any of it except for, I think, one dance sequence with the Flubbers and one basketball scene.
Yes, I think that I have this see, my brain, the problem I'm fighting currently is I have simultaneously Flubber, very hazy memories, and Inspector Gadget running side by side.
Similar vibes.
Yeah, it's the car, I think.
The car. Yeah, I'm with you.
And so
they're both very springy characters.
Yeah, bouncy and yeah.
So
I'm having a hard time
CG.
with that. Yeah, yes. But the dance scene that I think I also remember had the fruit basket on the
or
Flubber.
are we just thinking of the mask? These movies from this era
Another
are all the same.
stretchy-faced
Green guy.
green, gelatinous.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the poster in front of us, I'm not getting too much from this. Can you garner anything? Like, tell me what's going on here.
So, you know, it's...
we got Robin Williams.
The era of less is more, I think,
yeah.
for Disney. You know, it looks very... This looks more Nickelodeon than...
It does.
And I almost feel like somebody who worked at Disney, their kid had just watched somebody get slimed on Nickelodeon, and then they were like, green, that's a green. We should put oozy stuff on this poster.
Yeah, this poster, the background is just green slime. We got Robin Williams there, bow tie. Holding what I assume is the flubber.
Mm-hmm. That, or it's a green symbiote.
It's a green...
as Venom would
Venom, let there be flubber.
Let there be flubber. What a great... If we can go and change what Venom looks like to be more flubber-esque, that would be
I'll get my hit. Special effects people on it.
You do that, because I think we've got a hit in the making.
So I see a little yellow robot.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I very distinctly remember the robot having a fold-up TV that would, like, play different scenes from different things, but I can't remember if it's Meebo or Weebo or...
Amiibo?
It might be that, and then Nintendo's going to come get us, but...
Yeah, and then there's just a car. The car that we were already referencing earlier with the... And that's it.
And two people, and it's very hard to see what they look like.
Yeah.
That could be Robin Williams.
Yeah,
and that could be the lady from Inspector Gadget.
That could be
the
Inspector Gadget.
That could be Inspector Gadget.
That might be Matthew Broderick and / or French Stewart, depending on which Inspector Gadget.
True. Very true.
I know too much about the Inspector Gadget cast, I think.
Is that a Disney movie?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know the next time I'm going to come back.
Both the Matthew Broderick and French Stewart ones.
Well, next time you have me back, if that ever happens, we'll have to do Inspector Gadget.
Yeah. And I won't tell you which one, and you'll have to tell me which one based off of which actor is Inspector Gadget.
Gotcha.
You'll have to remember from this conversation.
Okay, I can't wait to not remember that.
Yeah, so what do you think this movie's going to be about? Like, at the very least, give me your, like, what your pitch would be if you had the, like, flubber, a car, Robin Williams, science. Like, what do you hope it's about?
Oh man. I would feel like, and I don't know if this came out before or after, but kind of the bicentennial man, you know, like, oh, we've turned this robot into human. Well, Flubber being like, I lost a child tragically, but now with science, I have this
little boy
green, and it's like Pinocchio, but science and goo. You know, so I think that would be kind of what I would hope for.
Yeah.
Because realistically...
No idea.
No.
All right, well, I think the only thing we could do now is sit down and watch this thing.
All right.
Let's do it. And we are back. We have just finished watching Flubber. I think we should just jump right on in on what we just witnessed.
Okay. Well, let's jump on in and hope the Flubber stays in our pockets.
That's right.
So we can make the landing.
Or keep it on our feet to help us with the jumping in. Nice. That was a good one. Yes. Good job. Yeah. Did it. Movie stars Professor Philip Bernard. Bernard. He's a professor at Medfield College. He is trying to invent all sorts of new, wild gadgets and experiments and technologies, as well as be a professor at this school.
And get married.
So he's got a busy plate on his schedule.
He's a busy dude.
So something is going to fall to the wayside, and for him, it's the marriage thing. Apparently, he had multiple wedding dates in place and just doesn't show up because he's too busy inventing.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Yeah. Really, commitment's his thing. And he's committed to science.
He is committed to science more so than any human being that he is engaged with. So, I mean, in the opening, we get an amazing Rube Goldberg breakfast machine like every scientist in movies have.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a requirement.
Yeah, I think that if you are, quote-unquote, a genius, then you need to have a ball drop setting in motion a 4-minute sequence of cooking eggs and bacon and toast.
There's so many of those.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's so weird how specifically, like, and it's never like lunch.
Mm-mm.
It's just breakfast machines.
Yeah.
So he rushes into the school one of these mornings. There's a comedic sequence where he goes into the wrong classroom. It's a nude painting class.
They have live models today.
Yeah.
And there's a male and a female nude pose.
Yeah. They're covered, but just by arms, which I was quite shocked to see in a Disney movie.
Well, I will say this. The lady was not covered until a mysterious man burst into the classroom and starts talking science. And then she was like, I feel uncomfy. I'm going to
cover
not
up.
Be exposed.
Now that the cameras are here. I'm gonna
right,
cover.
yeah. My parents may watch this one day.
So on this day, he goes to see his fiance, and she's like, all right, just remember, the wedding's tonight. And he's like, wait, tonight? She's like, yeah, tonight. The wedding's tonight. You missed the rehearsal dinner and the past 2 weddings.
Whose wedding? Our wedding? Your wedding? Yours and mine.
We're marrying each other?
Yeah, that's what's happening, and it's tonight, and I need to remember that.
He's like, got it. And he goes back to his home and starts working on more scientific inventions with his robot friends, the closest to him of which is Weebo, a flying little droid that has, like you said, the little TV screen that pops up that strangely mostly plays Disney movies.
Coincidence?
100% yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
We own that. Now, I will say, there was a little bit of Three Stooges.
Yeah.
There was Shirley Temple, which is, I don't know if that was Disney. I can't remember. And there was a quick scene of The Simpsons at one point, and we did not own them yet.
Yeah, so that means that this movie predicts what Disney's going to buy next. So place your money on Three Stooges, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go.
And this robot is in love with him and is very upset that he's going to be getting married. Yes.
To the point that the day of the wedding, he is having the Rube Goldberg breakfast, asking what the assistant, what's on his schedule for the day. And every time he looks away, she flashes up, wedding to Sarah at 6 o'clock. And every time he looks back at her, she closes that and hides it from him so he doesn't remember that he's supposed to be getting married.
Which, on one hand, we can blame the robot and be like, hey, you should have been helping out the professor. But come on.
Yeah.
Just no. But I do got a lot of respect for the professor and Sarah because he lives in a different place than her. They are waiting till they are married to live in the same house.
It's a one-person bed.
Yeah.
It's 2 different houses. Oh, yeah. They are being very traditional.
Yeah, good for them. He's going to carry her over the threshold. It's going to be a whole thing.
Covered in flubber.
Just bouncing along.
Bounce her over the threshold.
But on this particular day, he has an epiphany on how to finish this compound he's been working on. And he starts working on that and forgets about the wedding and ends up creating Flubber.
What does Flubber stand for?
It stands for...
Is it flying rubber or floating rubber?
It was flying rubber.
Okay, that's what it was.
I don't think is very accurate because it was mostly just bouncing rubber. Should have been blubber.
Mm-hmm.
Or
but
there's
then
no L.
PETA would be...
Yeah, they would be all over that. We just use a whole bunch of blubber for this movie. Tons and tons of it.
It's unbelievable. Like a whale load.
He works on Flubber all through the night, missing the wedding, created this compound that, like, when you rub it on stuff, it starts bouncing everywhere. Weebo the next morning is like, hey, by the way, your wedding was yesterday. And he's like, no, it couldn't have been yesterday because I haven't gotten married yet. She's like, no, you missed it. You missed it. And he's like, oh, okay. He heads to the school.
My bad.
And he's like, I'm sure it'll be fine. And the fiance is not too happy with the Flubber situation and the missing the wedding, mostly.
I partially blame Flubber for it because it is apparently shy at first when it meets new people.
Yeah.
Because it just looked like green goo. And when she would turn away, it would come alive and do stuff. And every time he tried to show it off, he couldn't.
To be fair, would that have mattered?
No. She did warn up front that, like, look, you've stood me up at the altar twice, and this is it.
Meanwhile, there's two other major elements going on. One is the school is going to be shut down due to lack of funding very soon. And also there's a rich guy who's upset at Bernard for failing his son because his son was bad at all types of science and school. So these are the two other elements going on in our story. And we cut back to Bernard at home, and he's figured out a way to use gamma radiation to make the Flubber float, which now would be an appropriate time to call it flying rubber. Mm-hmm. But they already did that before they knew it could actually make things fly.
Right. It was just bouncing rubber, but now it can actually float. Hover rubber.
Hover rubber?
That's hard to say.
Hover rubber.
It just doesn't have that ring to it.
That actually sounds a little inappropriate now that I say it too many times. No, so, he uses gamma radiation to make it fly, and he puts it in his car, and somehow, I assume it's magic? It has to be magic. He's able to drive his car through the air, which you pointed out would not work.
Because I'm a man of science.
Yes.
Because unlike a boat in water, a fluid, air is technically a fluid, but you need a rudder, right?
Yes.
And there's no rudder on this car or anything to catch wind and change direction. So he's
turning the wheel.
Say that the tires are for rudders, but I don't think
don't think the wind's catching it.
That wouldn't work. So turning the wheels shouldn't make the car turn left or right or whatever. In theory, he should hit that accelerator pedal and just go straight up into the air and be in the upper atmosphere and freeze. And that would be the end of the movie.
Now, there's another man vying for the attention of Bernard's ex-fiancée, who was a scientist who worked with Bernard, but he mostly would just take Bernard's ideas and not produce too many scientific things for himself. So he's in town now to be like, hey, he straight up tells Bernard, hey, I'm here to take your fiancée away from you. I will marry your wife. So as Bernard is driving this car, he passes by Sarah's house and overhears them, like, him flirting with her and her looking very uncomfortable, but not quite saying that he should go. Like, it was more like, yeah, I would love to go out with you, sure. And the two make a deal at the Medfield's basketball game that if Medfield's team wins, she has to buy him dinner. But if they lose, he gets to take her on a weekend trip to the mountains. I don't think this deal works out in her favor either direction.
No. And she was like, well, next time I see you is going to be at the game and we're going to win. So since we're going to win, when we do, I'm going to buy you dinner.
That'll show you. We're definitely.
And he was like, oh, okay. Well, if you don't win, then I get to take you away for the weekend in the cabins far away from anyone that could hear you scream.
Good deal. And they shake hands.
Shake. Great.
And if that's not creepy enough, Weibo has decided with her love of Bernard that she will create a humanized version of herself. So she goes online to different like model magazines and crafts together in her mind the perfect woman and is able to project a hologram of this woman.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi hologram.
Yeah, like straight up. You mentioned that this was very Ghostbusters in nature. If people know a certain scene from Ghostbusters.
There's a Dan Aykroyd scene.
Yeah.
And a bag, I think.
It doesn't quite go as far, but she does go into the bedroom while he's asleep and have the hologram try and kiss him?
Caress his face first.
Yeah, which he felt.
And he like, made a noise?
He made a noise.
It wasn't that noise, but it was a noise.
It was very...
I don't know.
I felt slightly uncomfortable.
It was weird.
Of course, he wakes up and Weibo gets scared and skitters off and is like, "Oh, Bernard, I was just here charging all night. I definitely wasn't trying to, without your permission, kiss you while also being not real."
Which, I mean, you talk about that, but it also showed the scene on Weibo's screen of Snow White being kissed by Prince Charming. So,
yeah. She's like, if that was okay, this will also be okay. Maybe those protesters, when Disneyland reopened, when they were like, this scene of Snow White and the Prince kissing in this ride is sending a bad message to kids, maybe they were right.
Yeah.
Because obviously this impressionable robot got the idea. What could it do to our children?
You know,
it could make them create holograms of themselves.
If Weibo, this innocent, I use innocent in air quotes because she's
I like how you put your hands up for air quotes and then you realize this was an auditory medium.
I did. I was like, and I didn't even do the quote motion. She is not 100% innocent, right? She is definitely undermining him in different ways.
Yes.
But she is,
she means well, kind of.
Sure.
We'll go with yes.
The only woman for Bernard is a robot.
Yeah.
A waffle maker.
And a waffle. So, next, Bernard tries to test Flubber a little bit more at the basketball court and, like, covers the ball and Flubber and, like, he's bouncing all around and he's, like, way out of control. And so he's like, I'm going to help Mayfield win. That way my fiance only has to take this guy out on a date, which is better for me somehow.
Well, because he's very traditional.
Yeah.
Right? So
he doesn't, he
just
knows.
Going out to eat.
That's nothing.
It's just going out to eat.
But if they're in the same house together, who knows what could happen?
Right. He didn't say, I'll take you out to the cabins, your cabin and my cabin. And my cabin that I'll stay in.
Which Bernard would have done.
Right.
When they went on vacation.
I rented 2 cabins for us. But, so he's trying to do the best he can.
Yeah, so
by rigging it.
Yeah. Bernard creates these little tacks that he puts on the basketball team's shoes. And Mayfield's team, and this was pretty funny, it like when it first shows their team, they're these tiny, nerdy glasses wearing.
Literally tape on glasses.
Yeah.
It was dual purpose because it was, hey, this guy's really nerdy. But it was also, we need to hide the logos of this brand so we don't have to pay that company.
Oh, man. No, I've done that because I've worked on like TV and like movie sets and stuff. And not to brag.
Oh, the right stuff.
Yeah, I did one thing and I will be doing one more thing. And I did a couple short films and that was a thing where it was like I was wearing Converse for one of the things and they gave me a little black tape to put over the Converse logo. So keep your eyes open for tape on clothing in movies because it's usually hiding something. The lower budget, the higher chance you'll see it. So at this basketball game, the team's losing, and then once they get the flubber going, they're bouncing all over the place, having a grand old time, dunking. But we were slightly confused because when Bernard tried with his first time with Flubber, he was wildly out of control.
Yeah, and he knew that he was putting it on.
Yeah.
He knew it was there. And the only thing the basketball players have is the tacks are coated in Flubber, but then also covered in paint so that the Flubber's not immediately activated. Mm-hmm. So the paint has to rub off as they run for the Flubber to be activated. But the Flubber gets activated on their shoes, and these guys are...
They're well in control of this Flubber.
Very. They are able to stop. They're able to leap. All kinds of things without just going...
Like bouncing all over the place.
Which we just saw in the previous scene.
Right. We can't even excuse it like, well, these are very coordinated athletes.
No.
No,
because they made a point.
That these are bad athletes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So anyway, Flubber, we're calling you out. Your own continuity.
Mm-hmm. Was this a high school or a college?
It's a college.
Okay, good. I wouldn't have known that. Based on the way those
they
kids
say
look.
professor.
Well.
They did. This was the first time in movie history, you are right, where normally if it's a high school, the kids all look like college
adults.
Or like 27-year-olds. Yeah. This is the first time that's been a college, and I think they hired like 16-year-olds for it.
Yeah, that whole team looked very young. Mm-hmm. Very young.
Also during this, Weibo's at home and just is like, oh, for no reason at all, I want to see the Flubber exist. So she opens the case of the Flubber, and all the Flubbers do a giant animated dance sequence of like congas and like spinning around and like tangos.
Yeah, it's very The Mask.
Yeah.
The zoot suit scene from The Mask. It's very much that.
But there was no reason for this to happen in narrative.
No. Other than Bernard said, hey, Weeble, whatever you do, don't
open the case.
Don't let Flubber out. And she said, oh, yeah, no problem.
But Weebo loves Bernard. Why would she do that? It's against her character. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
It was to show off the graphical power of whatever the computing power was of the time, I guess.
Was it I wonder if it was ILM. It probably wasn't.
I hope not.
I will say, for the time, it looked really good.
Does it hold up?
It doesn't match today's, but I think it's not egregious. It's not like when you go back and watch like the first Ice Age and you're just like, oh no, this is awful.
Yeah.
Don't watch the first Ice Age if you remember it fondly, because the animation is quite bad. Same with like the trolls in the first Harry Potter. That whole troll sequence,
rough,
horrendous,
rough,
real bad,
rough.
Yeah. So the team wins. Oh, one more thing. I need to bring up the guy who's upset that his son was flunked is there with his like goons, because he has goons, and he's making bets on this basketball game, which means Flubber is the fourth movie I've reviewed where they're gambling and there is cheating going on by the main character using whatever the hook of the movie is, whether it be a Flubber, a cat from outer space, a Blackbeard's ghost, or a computer wearing tennis shoes.
I hate it.
Which I have. There's a bit of a connection here, and I'll get into that in trivia.
Okay, I'm excited. Yeah. Now, I think one thing we did leave out is dad with son and goons.
Yes.
The son was supposed to be on the basketball team, is on suspension because of his grades.
Mm-hmm.
He was the one that gave the school a bunch of money.
Right.
To pay off all the teachers to get all good grades so he could go to Harvard. And the reason the school is closing, which you don't even find out till later in the movie, is the dad gave the money to the school But he didn't donate the money. He loaned the school money and is now asking for that money back. That's not how colleges work. You don't loan them money. You get loans to go to the college.
Also, if your entire school's financial system is built up on one guy's loans, I think you deserve to be shut down.
Yeah. You are doing it wrong. Clearly, you have not learned from any other college in America.
Just up your prices to be like $200,000 a year per student, and they're going to pay it
because they think it's prestigious.
Because we as a society have tricked kids into thinking that's what you need to do. Come on. That's what every college should do.
They're traditional, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
These goons are like, we need to get this Flubber. So the guy who's withdrawn his donation sent his goons in to steal the Flubber because, one, they could win basketball games all the time, and two, he did see the flying car and just assumed, yes, that's probably also Flubber.
Mm-hmm. He has no clue what Flubber is. He's never seen it. He's only heard his goons talk about, yeah, the guy rubbed some stuff on some balls, and then the balls flew around and hit me in the head.
And he's like, I want those.
Yeah.
I want that more than anything.
Whatever that is.
Get me that goo, please.
I want that. Also,
I want to rub it on all my possessions.
I'm glad he didn't say balls. Yeah. Golf balls and bowling balls and everything that you could rub it on.
Basketballs.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the only three.
Yeah, just those three items.
Those 3 items.
But he said, well, what does the professor drive? Oh, an old T-Bird. Oh, I think I just saw it flying. Okay, what?
When he sees this flying car, he is the most nonchalant I've ever seen someone be about a marvel of human intervention, where he's just like, wait, what car does he drive? Oh, a T-Bird. Huh. Like the one that's flying outside my window? That must be his.
Yeah. I mean, I've been on road trips and someone was like, look, a baby cow. And I'm like, a baby cow?
Oh my God.
Look at it. I've had a better reaction to that than that guy had to a flying car.
I've had someone be like, look, the car next to us is watching Flubber. I'm like, Flubber? That's my reaction.
It's a classic.
That's amazing. I love that movie. So this guy wants the Flubber. So he sends his goons in to get the Flubber.
Yeah.
They kill Weebo. Because Weebo's trying to protect the house, and they kill her. They hit her with the bat. And they get their...
It's not funny.
I
shouldn't laugh.
No, it's a little funny.
She was defending the house. Literally, he's got a robot made out of a Weber grill that can like operate a broom and deliver stuff. It's got claws. It can shake maracas in the dance sequence. It couldn't grab a kitchen knife and defend the house.
Right.
So Weebo, the no hands, no arms robot,
is just flying around him.
Flying around trying to knock him in the head.
Headbutt.
And she gets bashed with a bat, like home run bat, Super Smash Bros. Style.
Oh, there's one thing I should have mentioned. Oh. There was a scene where the professor, after the basketball game, is like just defeated because even though they won the basketball game, she still is going out on a dinner date with this guy. And he's like, oh yeah. So he says to Weebo how much he actually loves her and how he is absent-minded, not because of his love for science, but because of his love for Sarah, which I think is the lamest excuse ever. To be like, I just never want to spend time with her because I sometimes forget. Because I love her so much that I forget she exists sometimes.
My love for her fills my brain with so much chemical that I forget that she exists.
So that's an important thing, because Sarah is now like back in the professor's good graces. Now Weebo is dead.
It yelped like a dog getting hit when she got hit, and that was one of the most uncomfortable parts of the movie.
So Sarah and Bernard, they get back home and see Weebo dead and the Flubber gone.
Well, they go on that flying car.
They do go on a flying car
romantic
together. Like a whole new world.
Yeah, scene. And she's like, this is it. You've figured out the one thing as a human race we've never had.
Flight.
The ability to fly.
And he's like, you're right, we could sell the flying car and save the school. No one's ever
flown anywhere.
This man who has created artificial intelligence that has the ability to fall in love because it is so advanced, and daily assistance and Rube Goldberg breakfast machines
and an organic flubber creature that is alive, and has personality and dance, full choreographed routines.
He's like, this was what will save the school.
It's at least a 4 in movement.
Yeah, which is not bad. It's a scale of 1 to 5. For those of you who don't know. I don't know if we'll keep that in. We'll see. I don't work for them anymore.
Nobody knows what we're talking about unless you know.
Yeah, you don't know unless you know. Anyway, but no, it is the fact that he's figured out how to make man fly in a vehicle.
In a car.
Yeah. It's like an airplane, but smaller and slower. And
you really tick off a bunch of geese.
You have to have an entire gamma device inside your vehicle, just shooting straight radiation through your whole body and a surrounding area, and then you can fly. That's all you need. Just mix radiation with this weird chemical rubber and just burn this rubber up. It's amazing.
It's incredible. And every time you hit the accelerator, you hear Flubber scream in agony
because you're burning him with radio waves. They watch a little video of the backup of Weibo, who's like, hey, this is, it's a video of the human that Weibo created for herself. She's like, hey, professor, I know I'm a robot and I'm dead. I made this video in case I died, which is a weird thing for a robot to predict would happen to herself. And this would have been very recently because it was her human form that she just made in the past 2 days.
Yeah.
So she was like, I'm probably going to die soon for some reason, and made this whole video like, I love you, but I'm dead now.
I also know that you've never seen this human form. So this has got to be very confusing for you. This is very
weird.
Because you were not awake when I hologram tiptoed to your bedroom. But here's this video I made. If you're seeing this, I'm dead.
Yeah. Also, Weibo is saying this while Sarah's there, and she is very nonchalant about this robot confessing her love. Anyway, Sarah and Bernard, to keep this moving forward, they go to the guy who's doing the loans, and they try to save Flubber by pretending that they're going to accept his offer to buy the car. And I think that's a weird evil plan for this guy is, haha, I will steal the Flubber and then offer to purchase the car. I don't understand what the point is of any of this.
I will forgive all the loan that I gave you, college, if you give me your car.
Which is what he was going to do anyway. I don't understand. Anyway, Bernard and Sarah cover themselves with Flubber and unleash the ball of Flubber, and using the powers of Flubber, knock out all the goons.
Murder everyone.
Yeah, we never see the goons or any of them again after this scene, and some of them are hit pretty brutally. One's knocked face forward out a window into a pond. One of them has Sarah land, it looks like on his face with heels. We never see him again, and the other scientist who wants to go out with Sarah accidentally swallows the Flubber and he collapses to the ground. So I have to assume all of them are dead.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And then they sell the car and save
Ford.
the school.
To Ford Motor Company. Sir, your 6 o'clock is here. Did you want to see him? No? Oh, well, he's here outside your window. You mean my window? Up on the 32nd floor?
Whoa! It's Flubber!
It's a man in a T-bird!
And luckily, Bernard has learned his lessons throughout all this movie. And they finally have the wedding, and he's actually not there. It's a new Weibo.
The Weebet.
The Weebet. And he's on a video screen, and he's still inventing. And then they go on a honeymoon.
Not at the wedding.
Still not there. He learned nothing. And that's the movie. He learned nothing.
We did it.
No one learns anything.
Character.
And Weibo's now dead.
We have her sassy teenage
Weebet
themed daughter.
Close out our movie with some teen dialogue.
I think we did, however, forget the most important character in this movie. The reoccurring character That was the little boy terrified of whatever was out his window.
There was a little boy who was neighbors with Bernard, and every once in a while would cut back to him, and he would look out the window and see either Flubber or goons or flying cars, and like he would like be terrified and tell his dad, and his dad's like, "There's no monsters," and it would just get progressively worse. And his spirit looked more defeated each time we saw him, and it was supposed to be funny, and it was.
Because we know he's going to have to do counseling just like the rest of us.
That's right. And that's the character I related to the most. The one whose life just got progressively worse as the movie went on.
I know my dad's lying to me, okay? I know it.
I know it. It's fine. So, and that's the movie.
That was it. Yeah.
Hey, let's talk a little trivia before we get into anything else. Did you know there's a lot of references to this movie at Disney World?
No.
It's mostly in Journey to Imagination with Figment, and when you enter the line, Weebo's there. They have Weebo in a little glass case, and on the wall, there's a picture of like 3 scientists. One's Dr. Nigel Channing from Journey to Imagination. One of them is Wayne Zielinski from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Okay.
And one of them is Robin Williams as Professor Bernard. So there's 3 posters, and he's one of them.
Okay.
And it says Inventor of Flubber at the bottom.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to admit something.
Yeah.
I've never done that attraction. So I had no clue. But now I will go to Epcot to do that.
You got to go on it. So that's the biggest one.
Wow.
And you actually discovered this. I was going to leave it as a surprise, but you discovered it while we were watching the movie.
Sorry.
This is a remake.
Yeah, and that blew my mind because I didn't know it was a remake. But the only thing I discovered was there was a Disney toy called Flubber from 1960-something.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh.
They predicted this movie.
This is wild. They made a toy, and they didn't do anything with it until 1997. Yeah. It's like sitting on Dumbo. And then you dropped it on me.
It's like, no.
The absent-minded professor.
The absent-minded professor. And Bernard even kind of makes a little reference to it in this movie where he describes himself as absent-minded.
Got it.
He's like, these are the reasons I'm absent-minded. And I think the plot is fairly similar with like flying cars, the basketball game.
A robot.
I don't know if Weebo's in it. I don't know if there's a robot. But there is Flubber.
Okay. In the one image I saw on Disney Plus is, the car flying, and it's the professor, and it's a dog. So I almost feel like the assistant in that movie
might be the dog.
It might be the dog.
Maybe we'll have to come back and watch it.
We're gonna go watch it now.
We're gonna watch it, and we're back. We have just finished. No, and that movie got a sequel called Son of Flubber.
The absent-minded
professor had a sequel called Son of Flubber.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And that was also a Disney movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it like Son of the Mask?
Yeah, it is. In every way imaginable.
My heart hurts right now.
Yeah. There's a bit where a baby and a dog fight. The dog from The Absent-Minded Professor. But the budget has gone way down, so the Flubber looks way worse in the second one. And Jim Carrey didn't return.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
For the Absent-Minded Professor sequel.
Yeah, for the Son of Flubber.
Son of Flubber. I just need Son of Flubber to be a monster movie.
I agree.
I want it to be
back, and this time
it's pissed.
Yeah.
Like a giant kaiju Flubber.
Just bouncing around, absorbing. I think it's just the blob.
Creating tidal waves. You know what? That's it. You're right. It's the blob. Never mind. I got my wish.
Congratulations. And now we're going to go watch The Blob and Son of the Blob. Also, the school they went to, Medfield?
Medfield?
Yeah.
The Medfield Squirrels.
Yeah. This is not the first movie with Medfield in it. The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes also takes place in Medfield. Medfield is kind of like Disney's go-to college. So, like, it's a fictional college that, like, I think the original Absent-Minded Professor, definitely Computer Wore Tennis Shoes, maybe a few others, Shaggy Dog. Like, they all kind of use Medfield as their...
Is it the same Medfield?
I like to believe it is the same universe, and we're going to get an Avengers movie where it's going to be
assemble everybody.
It's going to be the professor with Flubber, and then it's going to be like Kurt Russell with his computer brain, and like Tim Allen's going to turn into a dog.
Amazing.
It's not that Shaggy Dog; it's a different one. But Shaggy Dog's also a remake from that era.
Oh my god!
Yeah. You're learning so much.
My brain can't handle much more of this. I don't have that Kurt Russell computer brain.
But yeah, that's that.
Wow.
So now we got to design a ride for this thing. If this movie came out and was super popular and Disney was like, we got to make an attraction for it, be it a restaurant, a ride, a show, what would it be? Where would we put it? Do you have something? Because I got a little something.
So I have two different thoughts.
Yes.
Depending on the park.
Okay.
If we are transporting our minds back to 97. Was it still MGM Studios?
It was at that time, yeah.
So I imagine it would go there.
Okay.
Much like the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was there, right?
Yes.
If I put it there, I would make it a Buzz Lightyear shooting ride.
Okay.
Where you're going through the professor's laboratory trying to capture Flubber. And so you're trying to contain it. Right? So
almost like
it's like a laser ride where you shoot and get points. If I were to put it at MGM, that's kind of what I'm thinking is like
I like that. The Flubber is loose, and
you're trying
maybe
to catch
you have
it
like
with Weebo. Like maybe the car is shaped like Weebo.
Oh, that's fun.
And you're trying to catch it and put it back before Professor Bernard gets home.
I think that would, in the 90s they wouldn't do this, but I think that would almost work better now where you could make it like a screen-based ride so the Flubbers could be bouncing all over the place and you could...
Yeah.
Because I think that would be a little challenging to do with animatronics. But also they could because they have $1 billion.
Oh, well, no. I'm saying like 90s... Like how Buzz Lightyear's...
Yeah. It's just the little
cardboard
laser pointer?
cutouts and...
Oh, it's just cardboard.
It's like things... It's very much not any more high-tech than
the Buzz Lightyear.
Than that.
Yeah.
And like some things move and... Yeah. So that's what I would do if it was at MGM. Or if you put it in Tomorrowland.
Okay.
And you did Stitch's Great Escape, but it's Flubber.
Flubber's Great Escape?
Yeah. Because
in that same studio?
Same everything.
Wait, I love that.
Right? Because everyone hated Stitch's Great Escape, and I have one memory of riding it one time, and I think that you do it there.
Because it does the thing where Stitch is bouncing around and he jumps on your harness. It could be the lights go off and it's Flubber.
Yeah.
And the Flubbers are bouncing your harnesses.
And you get misted at some point, and now you're bouncing. Yeah. So that's what those are my two
I really like
ideas.
That. If I were to do it, I would put it in Epcot near the Journey to Imagination Pavilion to kind of connect it to the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, connect it with the storyline they have going on, the Medfield trilogy. And I would make it like a flying car ride. Okay. You're in his T-Bird and you're flying around. At first you're going through like his lab. It's mostly like a walkthrough of the film, but you're in his car and like it gets to a part where you're bouncing, like you're at the basketball game and the car's bouncing. And then at the end it like takes flight. And the car goes from a ground system to a flight system, and you're like flying over the city.
Nice, kind of like the E.T. where you fly over the city and yeah. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
See, I like a good dark ride with some animatronics, some just stationary.
Very awkward.
Yeah, that doesn't look like an actual human. Look at that hair. I like that. That's cool.
So, is this movie, in your opinion, a hidden treasure, or should it be locked away? What are we feeling?
I think that Robin Williams is a treasure.
Yes, he is.
I don't know that this movie was.
Even watching it now, I have such a weird mindset about it, because it's very cliche, and there's stuff that doesn't make a lot of sense.
No.
It's not the funniest. It's not... But I never was bored watching it.
Right.
Like I am sometimes watching some of these for this movie. And I found myself enjoying it, but I feel like it's just a fun movie, but it is definitely for children.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because I don't have like super strong like this was awful.
No.
It was very like middle of the road, like just kind of nice.
Yeah. It was just, if you need to kill an hour and 37 minutes,
yeah,
what a great way to do that.
Yeah,
Long flight.
Robin Williams does do a really good job with what he's given, especially
the physical acting, the physical commenting. Oh, it's amazing.
It has some good like the Flubber's CG, but the practical stuff is really good too. Like
the puppets that they use
for the robots.
That was probably for me today the most impressive thing.
Yeah,
you know,
like during the dance sequence they have the grill. What's the Weber, and he has like a little fruit hat and is like shaking it, and it looked really cool.
Yeah, that was a great little sequence. I
wouldn't lock it away.
Really?
I don't think I would.
I would, that they don't make
so it doesn't bounce all over the place.
A live action remake, a new remake of it, like
a second remake.
Yeah, a reboot. But this is the story of the rival professor and his journey up until he swallows Flubber and dies.
But he's misunderstood.
Right, the Maleficent of Flubber. Like I would lock it away just so we don't get that.
I think that's fair and reasonable. But I genuinely feel like the ideas here are good enough that if they were to come back to the Flubber universe, I think there is a good movie to be made. But also, I haven't seen The Absent-Minded Professor, so maybe that is
the good version
of this.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That I think that in the way that they made the new Jumanji, where they made a reference to Robin Williams' character, and
they take it kind of different direction.
Yeah, it's different direction, but it's like, oh, well, he was clearly here.
Yeah.
Like Jumanji, itself is changed in the way it's presented, but it's always the same. I think that if you made it not necessarily his son or grandson,
son of
Flubber, you made it like his nephew.
Sure, yeah,
you know, or
like
whatever.
A new scientist.
Yeah, and
who's using the inventions of old and like.
Yeah, well, the family, you know, he's finally, they're selling the house and all the stuff, and it's his job as a teenager to go clean up and organize all the old science stuff that's now so out of date and like whatever, and he rediscovers Flubber. Like,
I think that would be fun.
That could be a really fun thing.
And another positive I want to say about this movie, and it's just for my own personal taste, I miss wacky science movies where it's just because science movies nowadays, they don't have like a lab filled with like zany like wires and tubes flailing every which way. Science movies nowadays are more like clean and pristine. I miss the old, it looks like a Lost in Space robot. Just it's nonsense. And it's just like science-y looking stuff all over the place, and
there's beakers on burners, and stuff
highly
is
impractical, and I miss that.
There's not a place that you could set anything down. Like if you needed to set down a drink, you couldn't.
I miss that, and I loved seeing that again. So it's not a good movie. I have to clarify that. I think there is fun to be had. But also, I agree. We do run the risk of there being a villain origin, like,
right,
of them like doing something. A new Flubber property would either be really fun and cool or horrendous.
Yeah. See, for me, it's like I have a 7-year-old niece, and I would watch this with her.
Yeah,
because there's enough. It's a kids movie, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
It is.
But I would watch that with her, and that would be a fun experience.
Yeah, I agree.
That'll be the next time I watch it. I won't need to watch this again.
Yeah, this is not like... I wouldn't say, everyone, you got to settle down, grab the popcorn.
Go make you a hot bag of popcorn and a milkshake and settle on in for this classic...
Is that what you do for movies? Do you make yourself a milkshake?
Oh, yeah. Peanut butter milkshake and popcorn, man. We do it right.
Man, you live a better life than me. I wish.
don't know. That Fanta was pretty good.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks.
Straight out of the Into the Vault mug that I do not sell.
We don't.
We don't sell it. It's just for me and my guests. Stephen, I think it's about time to sign off here. Is there anything you want to talk about? Any like personal projects or personal problems that you want to air right here?
Well, I still work for them, so I won't
take
it in
your personal problems.
Yeah, I won't air any of my laundry on the air. I would say that I have taken a step back from doing podcasting, so this has been a lot of fun.
Awesome.
To be kind of back in it. I was doing a podcast. It's still up and available for people to listen to. It's called D&DIY, Dungeons and Do-It-Yourself.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I love D&D and playing it, and I'm a very crafty kind of person. I do a lot of 3D printing and stuff like that. And so I talk to different makers who also enjoy D&D and playing any kind of tabletop game, and how to take a DIY element and add it to a tabletop game, how that can make it more immersive, more fun, and more memorable for everyone involved. And it's a fun show, and one day I'll get back to it. It's just kind of on break.
Yeah.
Everything kind of got put on hold when a lot of the world shut down.
It is hard to get people in.
Yeah. And so I actually only had maybe one episode where I talked to someone how we're doing now, face to face. Most of mine were over the phone.
Okay.
So that's kind of my project.
Sweet.
That I do. But yeah, you guys can check that out if you'd like. If not, it's okay.
If not, go away.
Yeah,
we don't
I don't want
you
you anyways.
Yeah. But keep listening to my show, please.
Yeah. Into the Vault's great and much better than anything.
It's a better show.
We did at D&DIY.
They don't even have a mug.
No.
That they don't sell.
We have shot glasses that we don't sell.
Oh.
I made those.
That's great.
Yeah.
For my own projects, if you like this, keep listening to Into the Vault.
I will.
Yeah. If you like the show, you can leave us a review. It gets more people to listen. Let people know that you like the show and get them to listen. And then, that'd be cool. It'd be real cool of you to do that, the listener.
And that'll increase the chances of us watching Son of Flubber.
Yeah. If I get to a certain amount of downloads,
which we will not
I will not disclose.
We will not tell you how many.
I'll write it down on a piece of paper. If I get to that many in an episode, I will do Son of Flubber. Please bring over your shot glasses.
I will.
Thank you. Awesome. Well, I think it's time to go. Luckily, my ride's here. It's a flying car.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I just have these thumbtacks that I'm about to put on my shoes.
Thank goodness.
So hopefully I make it back and don't kill myself.
I'll race
you. Okay. We'll see.
All right. Bye.